Chestnut Ridge, a picturesque southern town with tree-lined streets and old brick storefronts, seems like a postcard-perfect community. Yet beneath its charming facade lies a system rife with unchecked power and quiet injustices. The story begins with Maya Carter, a 28-year-old teacher who recently returned to her hometown after several years teaching abroad. Known for her dedication to her students and unyielding sense of justice, Mia hoped to use her experiences to inspire the next generation in the place she once called home. Her return, however, did not go unnoticed. Sheriff Douglas Kane, the town's long-standing lawman, is a figure both revered and feared. With a reputation for keeping order, Kane's methods often leaned heavily on intimidation, particularly toward anyone who dared question his authority. Maya's modest life in Chestnut Ridge is quiet yet purposeful. She spends her days shaping young minds and her evenings tutoring at the local library. Despite her calm demeanor, Maya possesses a sharp intellect and an investigative spirit, traits that had once made her a celebrated journalist uncovering corruption in larger cities. Her return to Chestnut Ridge was meant to be a fresh start, far removed from the high-stakes world of investigative reporting. But the town she remembered fondly had changed, or perhaps she had simply grown more aware of its flaws. Unbeknownst to Maya, Sheriff Kane had been watching her closely. Her quiet influence in the community and reputation for questioning the status quo made her an unintended target in a town where the law operated more like a personal tool of control. Little did Kane know, his decision to single her out would set into motion a series of events that would unravel his carefully constructed facade and expose the dark underbelly of Chestnut Ridge. One crisp autumn evening, Maya Carter finished a tutoring session at the local library and began her usual drive home. The roads of Chestnut Ridge were quiet, illuminated only by the faint glow of streetlights and the occasional passing car. As she rounded a familiar corner near the edge of town, the blue and red lights of a patrol car flashed behind her. Confused but calm, Mia pulled over, assuming it was a routine stop. Sheriff Douglas Kane emerged from the car, his demeanor carrying an unsettling mix of authority and condescension. Deputy Harper, younger and visibly uneasy, trailed behind him, his silence betraying discomfort with the unfolding situation. Kane approached Maya's car, claiming her vehicle matched the description of one involved in drug trafficking. Despite Maya's calm explanation of her evening and her clean record, Kane insisted on searching her car. Moments later, he triumphantly produced a small bag of white powder from her glove compartment, a bag Maya had never seen before. Stunned, she protested, her voice steady but laced with disbelief. "That's not mine," she said firmly, locking eyes with Kane. Her protests fell on deaf ears as Kane declared her under arrest for possession with intent to distribute. Handcuffed and humiliated, Maya was taken to the local jail, her mind racing. She couldn't fathom why she had been targeted or how the drugs had appeared in her car. The situation felt surreal, like a nightmare she couldn't wake from. As she sat in the holding cell surrounded by others who shared similar tales of wrongful arrests, Maya began to piece together the unsettling reality. This wasn't an unfortunate misunderstanding. It was a deliberate act, orchestrated by someone who underestimated just how resourceful she could be. Sitting in the cold, dimly lit cell, Maya Carter couldn't ignore the sinking realization that her arrest was no coincidence. Around her, other detainees shared stories of Sheriff Kane's heavy-handed tactics, wrongful arrests, fabricated charges, and intimidation aimed at those who dared to disrupt his control over Chestnut Ridge. Maya's case seemed like another chapter in a long history of abuse by a man who ruled the town with an iron fist under the guise of law and order. Despite her frustration, Maya's keen mind began analyzing every detail, determined to uncover the truth behind her arrest. Meanwhile, Kane's connections ran deep. The mayor, Robert Ellis, a longtime ally of Kane, seemed complicit in the corruption. As the overseer of the local judiciary, Ellis dismissed allegations of misconduct, creating a system where Kane's actions went unchecked. Maya noticed the telltale signs of their alliance during her initial court appearance: the mayor's dismissive tone, the rushed proceedings, and the subtle glances exchanged between him and Kane. The pattern was clear. This wasn't about justice, but about maintaining control and silencing dissent. Despite the bleak circumstances, Maya's resolve hardened. She wasn't just a teacher. She had spent years as an investigative journalist, uncovering systemic corruption in urban centers. Drawing on her skills, Mia began piecing together evidence. She recalled seeing security cameras near the library parking lot and suspected they might hold footage contradicting Kane's claims. Her instincts were validated when Deputy Harper, visibly conflicted, approached her in secret. Slipping her a USB drive, he revealed a recording of Kane boasting about planting evidence. Harper's unease hinted at deeper cracks in Kane's operation, cracks Maya intended to exploit. Armed with new information, Maya realized she wasn't just fighting for herself. She was unraveling a conspiracy that had controlled her hometown for far too long. As the walls of corruption began to close around her, Maya Carter leaned into the skills she had tried to leave behind. Her years as an investigative journalist had taught her how to uncover truths hidden beneath layers of lies, and now those skills were her lifeline. From her small cell in Chestnut Ridge, Maya worked methodically. She remembered the security cameras mounted near the library parking lot where she had been the night of her arrest. Those cameras might hold the proof she needed to expose the lies that had trapped her. With help from her public defender, Maya filed a request to access the footage, though her opponents worked to stall her at every turn. Meanwhile, Deputy Harper's guilt drove him to take a bold step. One night, under the guise of routine patrol, he slipped Maya a USB drive containing a recorded conversation between Sheriff Kane and Mayor Ellis. In it, Kane bragged about planting evidence on Maya and hinted at larger schemes involving payoffs and intimidation. The recording confirmed what Maya had suspected. Her arrest was not random, but part of a broader pattern of corruption aimed at consolidating power and silencing opposition. Though Kane had pegged her as just another victim, he underestimated her resourcefulness. Using her journalistic instincts, Mia Cross referenced the recording with the surveillance footage, uncovering a damning narrative. The footage revealed Kane's team planting the drugs in her car moments before stopping her. The evidence was irrefutable. By the time Maya was ready to present her findings in court, she wasn't just defending herself. She was preparing to dismantle a corrupt system. Quiet teacher from Chestnut Ridge had transformed into a force to be reckoned with, exposing the cracks in Kane's carefully constructed facade and setting the stage for an explosive courtroom showdown. The courtroom buzzed with tension as Maya Carter prepared to take the stand. The air was thick with anticipation, the spectators whispering among themselves as Sheriff Kane sat confidently at the prosecution's table, his trademark smirk firmly in place. Mayor Ellis, seated nearby, avoided eye contact with anyone. The judge, stern-faced and dismissive, called the proceedings to order, signaling that this trial would be yet another routine matter. But Maya knew this was far from routine. This was her moment to turn the tide. When her name was called, Maya stood tall, exuding a calm determination that masked the storm of emotion brewing within her. She approached the judge with measured steps, a small USB drive in her hand. "Your Honor," she began, her voice steady and clear, "I have critical evidence that not only clears my name, but exposes the corruption at the heart of this case." The courtroom fell silent as the judge reluctantly allowed the evidence to be presented. The room darkened as footage from the library parking lot played on the large screen. Gasps filled the air as the video clearly showed Kane's team planting the bag of drugs in Maya's car. The whispers grew louder when the next piece of evidence was presented, an audio recording of Kane boasting about his ability to make problems disappear with the mayor's help. As the truth unraveled, Kane's smirk faltered, and Ellis shifted uncomfortably in his seat. The coup de grace came when Mia, unwavering, pointed directly at Cain and declared, "This is not about law enforcement or justice. This is about power and corruption." The federal agents waiting in the back of the courtroom sprang into action, arresting Cain and Ellis on the spot. The courtroom erupted in chaos, but Maya remained composed, knowing she had achieved her goal, exposing the system and reclaiming her freedom. With Sheriff Cain and Mayor Ellis in handcuffs, the courtroom erupted in a mixture of applause, gasps, and whispers of disbelief. Mia Carter sat quietly at the defendant's table, her hands folded neatly. But her heart raced with a mixture of relief and vindication. For weeks, she had endured humiliation, fear, and uncertainty. But her determination and resilience had not only cleared her name, but also revealed the dark underbelly of Chestnut Ridge's justice system. The federal agents escorted Cain and Ellis out, their smugness replaced with faces of fury and defeat. For the first time in years, the people of Chestnut Ridge saw hope for accountability. Maya's charges were dismissed on the spot, and the judge, visibly shaken, issued an apology for the miscarriage of justice she had endured. Reporters clamored to speak with her, but Maya chose her words carefully. "This was never just about me," she said, her voice steady. "This is about standing up to abuse of power and holding people accountable, no matter how untouchable they seem." In the weeks that followed, Chestnut Ridge underwent a seismic shift. Investigations into Cain's and Ellis's dealings revealed a network of corruption that had wrongfully imprisoned dozens of innocent people. Maya, now a local hero, didn't stop at clearing her name. She spearheaded a community effort to provide legal aid to those still suffering from Cain's actions, working closely with federal investigators to ensure systemic reforms were implemented. Despite the attention and accolades, Maya returned to her modest life, resuming her work as a teacher. But she also founded a grassroots organization, Voices of Justice, dedicated to empowering citizens to hold their leaders accountable. Maya's quiet strength and unwavering resolve became a beacon of hope, proving that even in the smallest of towns, one voice can ignite change. Maya Carter's story reminds us of the power of resilience, courage, and the pursuit of justice, even when the odds seem insurmountable. It's a stark warning about the dangers of unchecked authority and the importance of holding those in power accountable. In our daily lives, this story urges us to stay vigilant against abuses of power, whether in our communities, workplaces, or personal interactions. Silence and complacency enable corruption to thrive, but collective awareness and action can dismantle even the most entrenched systems of injustice. From Maya, we learn that truth and determination are formidable tools. No matter how isolated or powerless we may feel, seeking allies, leveraging our unique skills, and staying true to our principles can lead to transformative change. It also highlights the significance of integrity, both in defending oneself and in standing up for others. The story also underscores the value of community support and systemic reform. Whether by voting for ethical leaders, supporting local watchdog organizations, or simply speaking out against wrongdoing, each of us has a role to play in creating a more just society. Ultimately, Maya's journey is a call to action, reminding us that even one voice, when persistent and courageous, can challenge and overcome corruption. Today's story is not just about standing up to injustice, but also a reminder that each of us holds the power to bring about change in our society. If you were in Maya's position, what would you do? 1. Fight to the very end and expose the truth, even if it means facing danger. Or 2. Step back to protect yourself and maintain your peace. Leave a comment with number 1 or 2 below to share your thoughts. I'm excited to hear your perspectives. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories like this one.